defenseman play without a stick, but then you introduce something else, just like maybe a little mini football or whatever, and you just watch the same techniques you're teaching. Of course, they forget once they get a stick in their hand, but you know that's a really good, effective technique.
We don't want chasing sticks, even though it's effective against weaker teams. Runs with the sticks out of them and then knock the stick. They love it. They'll do it. We try it. It's very, very hard.
So that's what we'll call a kid off.
So I'm just saying, like, if you have like a little mini football or something that they can catch, especially if the weaker kids, this is very easy because it teaches them footwork without them even knowing. Because they got to stick with the guy, they got to look at the hip.
But the second biggest problem I see when I watch games, watch at U11 all the time, kid slides, wide open on the creases. Slide is never a fill guy.
Lacrosse IQ.
We as a program, we got to solve that because we're leaving dudes open on the crease all over.
Do you have middies that don't commit to?
Yeah, I mean it's a season long. We are basically coaching for the playoffs.
It's a battle.
It's a battle because we have the weakest defending midfielders in the day. Well, not in the league.
No, you don't. We have.
So the only other thing I would say is, my son plays in the high school with a couple of these kids that the defense gets no love, right? If they do everything right, the offense scores. If they do anything wrong, the other team scores. It sucks.
Get used to it.
Right? It does. So one of the things at the high school that we may do next year that I love, SRV does it, is the night before every game, the goalie has a feed the defense party. And do everything to reward your defense. Pick them as the player of the game as often as you can. The offensive guys, they get all the goals. They get plenty of recognition. We had t-shirts made for them last year saying,
They love that.
offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. Stuff like
you include your short stick middies?
Yes.
Oh.
Anyone that plays defense. So depending on
Everybody.
well, so we have short stick defensive middies. I know when I'm attacking should be riding and stuff, but they get plenty of attention. It's the guys that don't get attention that we try to single out.
So,
We just reward them.
just following up, trying to understand again the progression. I mean, what levels are you guys starting to go position specific within Scorpion, so that just looking up the
Ideally,
chain?
we wouldn't.
We try not to, but around a U13 level, the kids start to
13,
gravitate.
right?
They start gravitating. So U11 should still be everybody plays everywhere. But even at U11A, we have kids who just like to play defense.
And don't forget, the primary goal that we should be doing here is preparing these kids if they want to play high school lacrosse.
Yeah.
And if they're going to go in and play long stick in high school, and they want to start that at 13 or 15, then I'll allow it. But we get games where we rotate people around and they don't. Yeah, like we get Casey comes up and says, I don't want to go on offense, just leave me at long stick. I want to be back here the whole time.
So when do you start long six? 13, right?
11. Yeah,
They have 54-inch stick, so if a kid looks like he can handle it and he wants to use it, if they really want to use it, I'll let him use it.
Just give them the
Let
low.
me enter that one thing, because this is important. On our teams, you have to.
Hey guys.
Hold on, listen up. This is important. You have to, on our teams, you have to earn the right to use a long stick. So we've got a newer player this year. He's a defenseman, still playing with a short stick. I will not. It's a huge mistake to let a kid who doesn't have stick skills go to a long stick.
You're absolutely right.
So they have to pass the test before they can go to a long stick.
What's the test?
Until I feel like good enough.
It's the Coleman Litmus test.
All right, Don, thank you very much.
Old school, new school.
All right, Dave, we'll go both ways. Have to follow the master. All right, so we have Steve Roop, coach the B1 team with coach of the year back there. And sad to say it, we face them 80% of our games.
Really?
And I'm sure you guys can guess why. Anybody? It's easy. They're worried about the strength of their defense. They want to own the paint too. And they don't want to spend as much time as these two guys do teaching real defense. So they just do ton of Danville basketball and draw X's and just say, own this spot. Right? And we've all seen that. So let me go through a couple things. So strengths and weaknesses of our team that we had to realize. We've got a funny team this year. We got 6 lefties, which is awesome. Something to adapt to, but kind of awesome. Our attack probably stronger shooters and hungrier to score than our midfielders. So we don't have, we faced some teams this year that had, we faced a couple kids this year that are sniper middies from the outside. We don't necessarily have any of those on midi right now. The strength of our team is, from a shooting perspective, and strength of shooting perspective is mainly at attack, and that plays into what I'm about to say. And then one of our weaknesses probably on attack is that we just pump the crease too much. And I think we've broken that habit in the last couple of weeks, but we were just pumping the crease way too much in the beginning of the year. So normally when we set up in offense, we go straight to, we go to a motion 1-3-2, right? And as you guys know on the motion, I'm going to do this just from the attack side, is that if this guy's got the ball and he's coming this way and he's coming hard, this guy is supposed to get, come across, this guy's supposed to come out, all these guys are supposed to, to rotate. And it probably took us the first 6 weeks of the season to get these guys to understand, well, I'm cutting across, I'm open for a second, but really what I'm doing is I'm carrying my defenseman out of here so that this guy can be his man. And then we've got all these guys moving and this guy needs to fill. So it took 6 weeks for these, for these guys to really get, with a lot of hard work, to really get the motion offense. But then we went through the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season with a really big, really physical, but slow, not so smart defenseman playing zone every week. And you try to run this motion offense through a zone,
Who cares who's saying it?
it's just like, and what they're doing is D, like, did nothing. Right? Did absolutely nothing. So we had to adapt to it. So we started practicing it more in practice, but the toughest thing for the offense was recognizing when the other team's in the zone, besides us coaches screaming it to them. The easiest way for us to recognize it was, hey, when we got the ball to X, did anyone go back there? And that was just, magic when we saw just no defenseman playing one of our best attackmen at X, because he could just feed all day. Other ways that you guys would recognize zone defense?
You're on some midi motion, and if they,
Mini motion, you run some sweep, you run something, it's just like
if
three
they
guys
pass,
right there, and you're like, okay, we're not gonna get through on.
just carry it across, sweep
anything.
across the top,
Yeah.
and they just pass it.
Yeah. So what we did, so what's key to what we did was A, get these guys to recognize, and then B, getting these guys to recognize that, hey, we're going to just keep this simple for you, or we're going to say, get out of the motion offense, and we're just going to do something that's, similar to, one form of man up, where what we want these guys to do, and we're going to stay in our 1-3-2, and, if this guy, so if they've got D, and they're just trying to own the paint, what we're trying to do is we're trying to, beat all these places in between, right? We're trying to beat these spots in here. And really, since the strength of our shooters is at our attack, we are trusting our lefty here and our lefty here in a lot of cases. And so this explanation isn't really for B and C coaches. I think more than A coaches that could probably have better skills to beat this. But, in general, we got guys with very strong hands, but, kind of modest, weak hands, serviceable, but not super strong. The big thing for us is that when the ball gets here and he throws it to this guy, and this guy receive it pretty actually close to the cage, because they're not going to guard him anyhow. And then he immediately sprints to this side. And by sprinting to this side, what we've seen from how they've coached these defenses is this guy goes and this guy goes. Both guys go every time. They just absolutely flood this side, and everyone panics just by him sprinting to this side. And what that happens, so then what we got to teach this guy to do is to step into the crease there with his, and this is what was really tough, because this guy was used to seeing him in a motion offense press this side and cut through, right? So he thought that was the right thing, but he's just pressing through into, you know, a whole bunch of garbage there. So it was tough to get these guys to do, and I'm sure what I was once taught to do is this guy needs to load that front hip. He needs to have his stick right here where he wants to pass, and when he gets it, he's just step, step, throw. Because we see lots of kids, they have it over here, then they switch, and by all that time, finally someone's there, right? So we had a lot of waste happening, catching it, reshuffling their feet. These are B players, getting it up and letting it go. So, but the keys to this is A, recognizing it, this, receiving it on this side, not being way back here, right? But like catching it close, coming fast. These two guys both freak out. This guy comes in. This mini defenseman never helps. Absolutely never helps. You know, because of this is what he's been taught in his zone defense. This guy can always step in here. So this is what's worked for us to either side. Before I show you the video, where we actually don't score any goals, but we actually do what we're supposed to do. This is what, you know, this is what we do. Is this gonna work? So we played San Ramon, who's actually what they hired 2 of the All West coaches, and I think they coach all the teams. So this team has gotten better. But they got 2 guys, 8 and 22, that play the entire game, either attack, midi, or defense.
Yep.
When they're on defense, they're pretty fucking good. When they're on offense, they're pretty fucking good. So you'll see a progression here in about a minute and a half of us doing this 3 different times once we recognize it. So we work it around. This guy catches, crease guy, the X guy catches it, immediately presses this side. 2 guys go, we drop it.
But literally, they're standing in one spot. That's what we saw.
So we got a mini going rogue here doing something that he shouldn't, and then things get better. This guy presses, 2 guys lunge, we get a shot there. We have to settle again. As Jeremy lists.
But look, the same guys go to the same position.
But
So
what you'll see, so keep your eye on 46, helped us win this game on their defense, because he would just run back and forth. Now our wing guy would be open again, he's getting a shot from right there. We're missing again. But they would just, same 2 guys would just go and leave those wing guys open. We weren't doing a great job connecting, but they proved the point to our guys, like this shot is there all day long. And imagine being the X guy and no one is ever giving you a hard time. Our guy just, another shot, you know, so this can just work and work and work because the midi defensemen never help.
So Steve, because you have a right-handed player and a left-handed player on goal line extended, you're just putting them in a loaded position to shoot right away on the hand side, the strong side?
They're not on GLE, they're about 7 to 10 yards high, they're on a wing.
Yeah, they're up, and we need to work more with those guys on shot selection and speed of their shot. But in general, like what these guys want, what the defense wants, what these coaches want is they just want to own that middle and force outside shots, and they're hoping to get outside shots from our middies, I think, and that's probably what they practice against. And we want to get those outside shots from our wings. We got, Brett Johnson on the left there's a pretty strong kid, and he can really chuck it, or Jeremy Liss on the left, he can chuck it from the side, or Carson, who's playing X, can chuck it a lot from the left too. So, we want to get that shot, and they put their weakest defenseman, 46, over here, and we probably scored 5 or 6 goals on him over one. So these guys, we've all had the man-on-man defense guy that just comes shot out of a cannon, and you can't control him, and he's 20 yards away from the goal. This is this kid even on zone, and we got a couple ducks, a couple, behind him, and he did this all day long.
See ball, get ball.
Yeah, we've all seen that. So this is, this is the simplest thing that works for us. I did talk to Coach Worstel about this at the little fundraiser the other week. His recommendation, which might be a little bit more sophisticated, is to go into a 3-3 pop, which we haven't needed to put in, but if you guys can imagine, so if you got, instead of having someone at X, if you are in this situation here and they got the same thing, D, 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 if, so once again for us, if we had it here, and this guy has the ball, he would carry here, this guy would pop, this guy would turn and pass, and he would immediately press back here, because this guy carried this guy a little bit, and this guy immediately pressed, this D would likely go, and against D-level opponents that we would face, this right-handed cut, if he can beat his guy, should be there with no one on the crease. This attackman, as soon as this guy presses, should come here. If that's not there, he circles around and hits it here. He immediately presses, and then this might be there because of everything that's moved.
How do you rep that, Steve?
How
How are you practicing that? Getting the kids to do all that? Have you tried the 3-3?
We've tried it twice. We really don't need it because we've got, so we got Wyatt Nagel, who's really good from this spot, really cuts the space well, really has the stick where he wants it, beats this guy, right? So it does come down to your personnel and who you can see executing this. Gets over here, we press, this guy's got to come left. Not sure we have that guy, or enough of those guys that are going to be on every midfield line that are confident cutting that way. So we haven't done this yet because we haven't needed to, but also a little bit worried about what personnel is going to be on the field and are they going to get it. Jim, you want to add anything to that?
No, it's true. We haven't worked with 3-3 very much.
How about running any screens or anything? This is for defense.
We haven't. I mean, the other thing you could do here that I was thinking about is you could have, as this carry happens and these guys shift over a little bit, if it does go there, this guy could come and set a pick on that guy so that this guy could come.
I'm just thinking about down low, if you're 1-3-1, and the other one attack, clear out. That's what it's around here.
Yeah, I think what this is designed to do is to open up all of this, which is what they don't want.
How do they play the zone if you play a 1-4-1? Because this zone looks like it's set up for a 1-3-2. Right, so if you do
It is.
1-4-1.
Well, or a 3-3, yeah.
Yeah, at that level, the 1-4-1 will totally blow their mind away.
Yeah.
They don't know how to, but then again, the problem is if you've got a weaker team, is who's your guy on top?
You just need one good dodge midi.
Yeah, tell
And
me
then
who your guy is. I mean, if you
he's
have that
got-
guy,
the slant comes.
if you have that guy, that's great.
So we
Again, lower level, this is something B1 or an A team should absolutely take advantage of.
So at U11, and granted we were coaching U11A, and we faced a lot of zones then too, and I mean, I had to go deep into the playbook for this stuff, and so I was on an emailing campaign with Jim Berkman and a buddy of mine from New Jersey, that everybody's playing zone, and they're taking zone to a new level in North Jersey right now. Matchup zones, they've got like Syracuse zones, and Princeton zones, and Bobby Knight type zones. Anyway, we have a 1-4-1, and we play, and we started it with man up, moves man down defense and zone, just an extra guy in there. We play 1-4-1, and we have my best player sitting on the crease, and we call him the adjuster, and he can pop out anywhere. And we have a couple set motions off that, and and started destroying zones, and if they go into a zone, we'll kill them. We'll you know, we literally name the score what we want it to be, so.
Yeah, man, if you guys, if you're not on the YouTube channels, like the Lacrosse Film Room YouTube channel, like there's the one guy who diagrams and paints colors on like how you overload a zone. And like with our three lefties, lefty here, we could put a lefty attackman here, or sorry, even if it was here, we could just carry, pop, and just do it over and over again until we find weakness
Baby
here
wheel,
in the
yeah.
center. We could just do this we just do that baby wheel time and time again with three guys, because we've got, the strength of our team is lefty attack.
But when I installed the 141, it could have been simpler. I just put him in a 141, and I told the adjuster that he could do whatever the hell he wanted. He's a pretty high IQ kid, and I just let him play and let him explore. And then I tell him, you know, just little things, and you rep it for 10 minutes of practice or whatever, and just kind of let them play, and they start finding the seams, and they just play out.
So someone asked the question, how do you rep this? I think you asked. Right?
Yeah.
The easiest way to do that, practice your man-down defense at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? You go 6 on 5, that's the zone. That's what you're basically facing, is one fewer guy. And it forces, it gets their confidence up. The offense is going to start scoring. Hopefully.
Yeah, we go a little overboard with practicing man up, man down, and fast breaks, because right now, we're not getting a whole lot of 6v6 midi offense. We're not getting a lot of alleys or sweeps that are resulting in goals, so we got to practice what's going to lead to goals for us.
Hey, Steve, we got probably time for one more question.
So the question I have on the spectrum of development, like what are the offenses that we're running at U11 and that we're seeing U11, U13, and 15? Is it all 1-3-2? Is it 1-4-1? Are we doing any 2-2-2? Are we doing any inverts? Or what should be?
We do all of them.
That's situationally dependent. What are you doing?
So that's the next step in the evolution that we're working on at the board level, is to get some common terminology that will start there. And we'll start at the youth level and start with the basics, build to it, and then build to it. By the time you get to U13 and U15, you got what you want. You go where you need to. At the A level, B level, you still use the funnel, right? You reverse funnel.
Hey, Steve, can I just make one point?
Yeah.
I haven't done this for 15 years. If you have whatever team and you want to beat a zone, practice the star passing drill, number one. And number two is this is real, unlike the previous instructor who was teaching us building blocks and atomic units, Steve. One of the things that's interesting is you are trying to set up in the simplest form a 2-on-1 at a corner or in an open space. That's all you're doing to beat a zone. And if you don't have a player that's willing to go there and pressure, because you can pass all freaking day long and they're just going to watch you. But if you have zero threat in your team, you need that aggressive kid that they are fearful where you draw those two kids.
You're exactly right, Phil. I mean, having this guy know that he's running into two guys, knowing that he needs to pretend that he is going to take them both on,
Right.
and then at the last minute, turn and flip on a line, not a lollipop pass, not a soft pass, and that's where the star drill comes in, that this is going to be a pass on a line right to this guy's stick. That's not easy, right? Because he just sees two guys coming, I'm supposed to run away, or I'm scared, I'm running away. So this guy's got to want to get into trouble. He's got to have a little bit of hard nose.
He's got to draw two. And that creates the opening. It's a 2-on-1 each corner. That's how.
And it is, there's, and we absolutely have to place the right attacker in there. We don't have 5 attackmen or 6 attackmen that can do that well.
Yeah.
We got 2, maybe 3.
And Steve, my last point is if all else fails. Does everybody here know what a sidewall is? The sidewall play? So it's the same setup where basically you're having a midi or a taco, what I call east-west. So he's not attacking the zone north-south. You start attacking the zone east-west. They don't know how to defend it. You look at that seam right between the two groups, and the guy just brings the ball on the side, and he takes off, and then everybody collapses to try to stop him. And there's usually the far side wide open. So it's like, think of it east-west.
Well, not even the far side, Phil. You'll see it.
Or up top.
You'll see a step down from up top.
Yeah.
Because those 2 top guys will collapse on that right away. You're right. It's a Great
So
way to.
just simple stuff. Again, it's like, you're asking the question. I mean, I've run 1-4-1s, 1-3-2s, 2-2s, 2-2-2s. It's your personnel that dictates.
I know that's the first one, but
yeah,
I'm
what
trying to
you're doing. And I
understand.
can tell you this, though, if you have weaker players, a 2-2-2 is a lot easier to train
That's helpful.
with a team. You know, I've had great success with C-level teams with two, because you only have to think two-dimensional.
All right, so I'm gonna wrap up. Three things, the three fundamentals are, you guys have to recognize it and get out of the motion offense, number one. Number two, the guy at X has to be pretty close to the crease, immediately change directions, and run like he's trying to air gate at the cage. And then you gotta have that guy on the outside with the front hip charge, stick in the right position, catch and let it fly, and pick the right shot. So it's those three things which can be worked on over and over and over, just with the attack. So just doing 3-on-3 on attack D, you can work this in reps, and we've done that a lot, just so that you can not waste the time of all the minis, and just have the attack work that over and over and over again. All right, I'm out, bye.